Hey everybody, it's Jason from the Texas Gun Vault, and today I'm coming to you with another field stripping video. And today's field strip video is going to be on this MP5 clone made by TPM Outfitters. If you guys have been watching the channel, you know I just did a range report on this and put its first rounds through it. So it's time to take it apart, clean it, see if there's any issues internally, and of course film a field strip video. So I'm going to field strip this, then off camera I will clean it and reassemble it for you. It should be noted that this is a semi-automatic only gun, so although this looks like it is a pin, this is not a 3-pin system. This is a semi-auto shelf. It just looks like there's a pin, and I'll show you that when I take the lower off. Alright, so the first thing we're going to do, of course, is remove the magazine and make sure there is no ammunition, and there is not. Then we will, of course, inspect the chamber, pull the charging handle back, visually inspect the chamber, make sure there's no ammunition in there for safety reasons. There is not, so we will close the action. The first thing I'll do now is start here at the front. I will take out the handguard pin. Sometimes these can be a little stiff. There that is, and the handguard should simply come right off of the gun. If you want to, you can take off the thread protector if you're going to be cleaning the barrel or want to clean the threads, and I will do that as well. So there is that. Then the next thing I like to do is actually extend the stock so we can take the stock off. Now the stock has a little pin here in the back, and you can push that through as well. Pull the stock pin out, set that aside, and the stock should simply come off the back of the gun like such. Then we can drop the lower. So this is a hinged lower with a semi-auto shelf, so all I have to do is pull this down and it should come right off the firearm. I'm going to set this aside for just a second. I will then take the charging handle, pull this back. I can now take out the recoil spring and the bolt and the bolt carrier. So in order to take the bolt off of the bolt carrier, you pull back on the bolt, and there's kind of like a little place for it to rotate. You pull that out, the bolt comes off, then you have the locking piece and the firing pin and firing pin spring. And as you can see, my hands are all dirty because this gun definitely needs to be cleaned. And then when it comes to the lower receiver, you can also pull out the entire trigger pack. So the way that you do that, you take the safety selector switch and you go all the way up, and sometimes it will pop out like that. Sometimes you just need to pull it out. It comes out, and then you should be able to pull out the entire trigger pack. These things can be in there a little bit tight, and there you go. So that is a completely field stripped MP5 semi-automatic SBR clone. All right, so I'm going to clean up this gun, and then we're going to reassemble it and put it back together. All right, so I got everything cleaned up, oiled, and ready to put back together. I'm going to start with the lower receiver. Going to take the lower receiver housing, put the fire control group back in here. Should slide right in. Sometimes it's a little bit of a tight fit. You want to make sure that the part of the trigger that can accept the safety selector switch matches up with the hole on the side. That should go straight through. Sometimes you got to line it up on this side as well. Push it in and then slide it into the safe or the fire position, and that is back together. Next up, we're going to go to the receiver here. We're going to install the thread protector first. Then I'll go ahead and put on the front handguard. Put the back on first. It should slide right up. Make sure that hole lines up where the pin will go through. Slide the pin through. Now your handguard is installed. So now let's go to the bolt carrier. We have to reassemble this. The first thing you're going to need is take the firing pin and the firing pin spring. Put that together. It goes in through the front of the carrier. Then you take the locking piece. Gotta make sure everything gets all lined up with how it's supposed to go on there. You push down on it and rotate it just a little bit so it stays locked into the carrier. Then you take your bolt, put it over the locking piece, and then you should rotate it, if you're looking at it, counterclockwise, and then you will hear it snap, and then it is locked onto the carrier. Then we can take this and slide it into the receiver. Make sure it goes all the way in. Take your recoil spring, insert that. Then we're going to take the lower receiver, and I always say make sure that the hammer is cocked. It just makes things a little bit easier. Because it has a semi-auto shelf here, you have to install it from the front going backwards. So you push that on, then rotate this up, and of course make sure that the holes align where the pin will go through. Then you take your stock, push it in from the back. Might be under a little tension with that recoil spring. Make sure everything's all lined up. I need to just push it down just a little bit like that, and everything looks good. Install the stock pin as such, and then take the magazine and insert it into the gun, and then run the action to make sure that everything is working like it should, and it looks like it is. So there you go. So that is a field strip and reassembly of my TPM Outfitters MP5 clone, and this should be the same for the HK SP5K and the SP5 or any stock style HK MP5 clone. So there you go. So let me know if you have any questions, and I hope this helps someone. So as always, thanks for watching.